Hey, Sonic Prime sucks. I went into Sonic Prime really excited about it. I was super pumped for like the idea of a multiversal Sonic show. I made a video doing all the predictions for it, and I was really hyped for like what it could be. And then I watched the show, and I was like, oh, this is awful. That might be a bit too harsh, but like, you know, animation's good, fight scenes are good, but the characters are just so bad. And they like kind of bungled every single possible concept they could. All the settings are really boring besides like the main one, and I'm so baffled at how they did the thing they did. Season 2 is coming out this Thursday, so I thought I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna watch through all the episodes, I'm gonna talk about them, I'm gonna try and be as optimistic as possible, and we'll see what happens. Will I like it more? This episode sucked the life out of me. I had a bunch of notes written down about this episode, but I did not account for the fact that after watching a 40-minute episode of Sonic Prime, I would have no energy whatsoever. So I'm just gonna go off script for this one, because oh my god. Pacing sucks. I could say that off the bat. They use flashbacks to tell the story instead of telling the story. So they have like the story start in the middle and then continue and then jump back to the beginning and back to where we started and then go to the middle. And I don't know why. The fight scene with 9, I remember it being a lot better than it was. They kind of jump onto the train and then off of the train and then back onto the train and then off of the train. And don't really do much from there until it ends. Otherwise, in terms of the characters, Sonic's really annoying. I hate him a lot. I think Devin Mack does a great job. I love you, Devin Mack, but he's just so annoying. Like the whole scene of like, no you didn't is so bad. I've heard people go to the defense of like, well, he's just a kid. He's supposed to be annoying, but no. Just because he's a kid doesn't mean he should be deeply unlikable. Like that's, come on. Otherwise, Eggman's characterization kind of sucks. He's not interesting. He just yells at people. That's it. And like, especially after watching Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Boom and playing Sonic Frontiers and reading the IDW comics, we've hit such highs. And this is so low. He is nothing in this show. Because he only appears in this, and then they split him into 5 Eggman, which aren't even from separate dimensions. They're just from one for some reason. So why even do the multiverse concept? Just put us in New York City. And they're so bad. The baby one gets the focus in this episode, and he's just a baby. He just makes baby noises. Why? I like that Big is here, and Rouge is here as like a main cast member. I like her redesign. I understand why they did it, and I think it looks good. I don't love Amy's dress. The sleeves throw me off. I think Eggman's design, he's got like way too many lines on him for no reason. And they added a bunch of lines to Orbot and Cubot, my sons, who only appear in this episode, and that's it, which is why the show is awful. That's the only reason. I want to throw this in too. Tails gets mad at Sonic before the Prism Shatter because he's fighting what he believes to be Eggman. It's just a big mech. And Tails scans it and it's like, oh, Eggman's not in there. I gotta tell Sonic. But all he yells is, it's a trap! It's a trap! Sonic, it's a trap! And Sonic goes, huh? Well, I don't see one, so I guess it's fine. And he destroys the robot and Tails gets mad at him. But Sonic's in the right, because Tails could have just said like, hey, Eggman's not in there, don't break it. But instead he just doesn't say anything and gets mad at Sonic for not listening. Listen to what? You didn't tell him anything. It's so boring. I know, I've seen the rest of the show, and watching that I'm like, man, I got more to do. I got more show to watch. Oh. Not looking forward to it. Hopefully the Sonic and Shadow fight lives up to what I remember it as, but we'll see. On to episode 2. Episode 2 is better. The animation was a lot better. There were some fight scenes I thought were pretty good overall. The fight scene with Shadow is pretty great, weirdly. The animation, the spectacle, all of it's just really nice. The music's not like fantastic, but there's some effort put in at least. And the fight scene at the end with like the laser going around the room and everyone interacting with it in different ways, I think is great. I think they did good on that one. Definitely the pacing issues are less prevalent but it is weird that it still starts with like a thing that happens before the show even starts, and then it goes back to normal, and then it goes back to a flashback from another character in New York City, and then back to like the present. But after that, they just kind of let it go, and that's nice. Thank God. But yeah, I don't know. There were some funny jokes in this episode. I still think Sonic is annoying for most of it, but overall, like, hey, they're doing better. I didn't write any notes for this one because this show takes so much out of me already. But first episode, god awful. This episode, just looking up. Still same issues, although the animation was better, writing a little bit better. Still some stuff where I was like, come on, you can do better than this. But we'll see on episode 3. Episode 3 was good? I really liked episode 3. Again, I've seen this whole show before, but it's been probably since release, since I've gotten this far. I rewatched episode 1 a bit ago, and I was just like, don't want to continue. I did take some notes, because there was stuff I want to talk about. Of course, the episode started with another flashback, this time to before the middle. Because of course it does. That's a simple thing. In terms of animation, Rusty Rose's animation is great. The animation in this episode in general was really good, but I like how Rusty Rose like uses her extending limbs to like really have a punch to action. This episode was also, it had funny moments. It had good character moments. I like the bit where they're all together, all of Sonic's friends, but the laser is still circling around the room, so they all just like casually duck every once in a while. That's funny. That's a funny gag. I thought Sonic's writing near the end of the episode was particularly good, which is so weird for this show. When he's having a revelation that the whole New York City was caused by him breaking the crystal, so he did it. Like, the voice acting's really good, the writing, it's great. Probably would have landed better if, they put all the flashbacks at the beginning and then did this, and then I'd be like, oh my god, he did it, instead of, yeah, the show opens with him messing up. There's 3 segments in this episode that I think are super good. So there's the stairway fight, which is excellent. Like, they make good use of the place they're in so many times throughout the fight. They're bouncing between floors, writing on the walls all the way down. It's so good. And it's so entertaining, and they just throw it between characters. It's great. And there's the bit that is probably my favorite moment in the show, to be honest, which is just Sonic running through bullets and like kicking a barrel into a bunch of robots. It's great. It looks great. It's like a cool sequence. If you clipped that and showed that to someone out of context, they'd be like, what's the rest of the show like? This looks awesome. And then you wouldn't tell them. You can't. The bit near the end of Sonic fighting the baby robot too is really good. They made the baby part of a good thing. It feels like a Sonic Colors boss. He's running around this ring, like around the whole like council capital, I guess. And it's great. It looks really cool. Sonic does this thing, like he hits a bunch of them in a row by spinning, and he does like a little laugh and nose thing, and that's great. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, Sonic would do that. That makes sense. This episode's pretty good. That's probably the last one I'm gonna watch for tonight. It's late. But yeah. Tomorrow I'll watch 4 through 8, I guess. But let's look it up. First episode was god-awful, second episode was a slight improvement. So it's pretty good. They're getting the hang of it, maybe. Let's hope it remains that way. So episode 4 was fine. It was kind of like episode 2. It really dropped in quality. In this one, Sonic goes to the Boss Gauge maze and meets those wacky characters. The maze from above does not look good at all. It is very weird looking. This whole episode in general has a lot of issues with lighting, especially like underneath. Which is a bummer. That was like one of their strong suits. They also do this thing that I think comes back later, where Sonic meets a new group of people and it's like, oh, you don't know what I've been through, and then it like shows small clips of the whole previous episodes, which like, this is a streaming show, you don't need to do that. That feels like something that they did because they're used to making like cable TV shows. Along that line too, I'm really sick of that, come on, we're friends, you know me thing, because like, come on, man, Sonic should know by this point, huh? They are not, they're different, and I have clocked that they are different. There were some good jokes in this episode, but overall the writing keeps like going as easy as possible. Like they do the, oh, answers aren't gonna fall out of the sky thing. It's like, come on. Anyway, episode 5. Episode 5 was pretty not that great. The opening flashback with Amy was pretty bad. The writing was not good. There was like 2 good jokes with Big and Knuckles and Sonic, but otherwise, yeah, it was just written very poorly. It didn't feel very natural. The show treats its audience like they are extremely stupid by putting that flashback at the beginning of the episode and then using it like 3 more times for random bits. I just don't get it. Kids are smarter than that, and I hate when shows treat them like they're extremely stupid. They're gonna understand, and if they don't, like, I don't know, man, you don't have to like keep flashing back to like, whoa, that's like the thing from earlier, remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? Episode 6 is gonna be great, I bet. Let's woo, let's go! Episode 6 is fine. It's fine. They do the Amy flashback for a 5th time. And I remember I had the same reaction to that now as I did when I first watched it, where I was just like, come on, stop doing it. I get it. It happened at some point. You don't need to remind me. I will say the fight with the Eggmen is really good. It's like Sonic goes back to New York and fights everyone. 9 shows up in a spaceship that's really cool looking. I like the design of that. And Rusty's here. I love Rusty's design. Like every time she appears on screen is when Sonic Prime is good, actually. And then when she's not on screen, it reminds me, oh yeah, it's Sonic Prime. Episode 7 now. Episode 7, it's the pirate one. The one where there's pirates. I like the designs of the pirates way more than like the Boss Cage Maze designs. I think they're very neat, although I already like pirate settings, so maybe that's why. They do a pixel art flashback with Knuckles. It looks so bad. It's like a dorkly animation, but official, and I don't know why they did it. But a thing I want to note, they show the Master Emerald there, and it just brings into question why none of these like Shadowverse worlds have Chaos Emeralds or the Master Emerald. Where's the Master Emerald in like the actual main world? Shadow gets the green emerald, but like where's the other things? Why is Knuckles there? Like why is he just hanging out? I don't know. But the Chaos Emerald thing feels like you can't just have it where all these worlds are like, yeah, you know, the only thing that we have is these shards. Because no, where's the emeralds? They should still be here. The episode also starts with another like flashback to before the prism shattered because they hate telling a story normally in a way that is like in a way that makes sense. I feel like this show is very weird pacing wise, not even just for the flashbacks, but also like they want to show off all these worlds but don't make it natural. So Sonic gets here and he's like, oh god, I was just in a fight, I gotta help people. And they're like, hey, let's party on this pirate ship. And he's like, well, okay. And then he's just distracted the whole time. And it's like, bro, Sonic. Sonic also references Sonic Adventure at one point with the orca. And they said something about this being canon. I don't think they meant that the show is actually canon to the games. I think they just meant that the games took place in this world too, and it's based on the game world. But I just can't believe that this Sonic experienced Sonic Adventure 2. There's no way that this Sonic watched the Gerald execution tape and is still like how he is. Last episode, woo! Episode 8 is more of the same, I guess. Quick thing, so this is more of the pirate one. And Sonic's shoes and gloves change in every world he goes to. In this one, he can float on the water. That's cool. but he forgets about it all the time. He gets like thrown off the boat and he's like, oh no, not the water. Whoa, my shoes can make me float. And I'm like, bro, you were literally just reminded this 10 seconds ago. Anyway, I remember when I first watched this episode, I got to the end with the shadow cliffhanger and he punches him and that cuts to black. And I was like, all right, next episode. And I looked and there were no more left. And I was like, that's it? Huh? It was fine. So overall, what do I feel about Sonic Prime after rewatching it? I think it's still not good. I will say, definitely a lot of the highlights stood out a bit more to me, because I wasn't going in like fully blind. I knew what was happening. Episode 3 was unfortunately the peak of season 1. I think the characters are written very poorly. The writing in general is just really flimsy and like easy. I'm not expecting like the most extreme emotional drama possible, but like, I don't know, you could keep the tone while also making it where it doesn't talk down to you and like think you're stupid for watching it. They really bungled the multiverse concept as a whole. Like New York City's cool, but then other than that, there's jungle and pirate and nowhere, because there's the place that 9 goes to. And that's kind of it, and that's stupid. Literally, you can do anything. And I know it would have been like a licensing hell to try and get all the previous Sonic shows and all the comics and make it like a crossover thing. Because we don't need that for a multiverse story. That's been done to death in a lot of different things. But like, do something interesting. Like, you're working with the lore. They reference like Sonic 3, Sonic 2, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure 1. Do something with like, what if this happened? What if Perfect Chaos wasn't stopped? What if the Ark blew up the Earth? What if something? What if Eggman was never born? What if Sonic was never born? That's kind of what they do with New York City. And that's cool. And then they don't do anything with it. For the animation, there's definitely parts I think are really good. Like the lighting is great a lot of the time. But then like the stuff in the Boss Gauge maze, it just does not look that great. I like that when Sonic runs in other dimensions where his shoes are different, it changes like the color of his figure 8. I can't help but be extremely disappointed by this show. I wish it was something more. And even with what we got, it's hard to accept it as is because of how nothing it is. It is boring. It is poorly written. It's just, nah. So after watching Sonic Prime, I watched Sonic Boom all the way through. And that show is not one for looks. It does not look good most of the time. But they had like a 4-episode arc called Robots from the Sky. And that one's great. Like, I was watching that, I'm like, this is a comedy show, and they crack jokes throughout it. But they like handle stuff a lot better than Sonic Prime does. I'm gonna be watching season 2, quote unquote, because I mean, I'm a Sonic fan. I gotta keep up to date. I gotta know what happens in those for lore reasons. How else am I gonna say it's bad? What if it gets better? But overall, Sonic Prime, pretty bad. I have no goddamn idea why people hype this show up so much. Every other Sonic show does something here a lot better. If people like it, then that's fine, but it's not good. Thanks for watching. I wish I could have liked the show a lot more. But again, maybe the next couple episodes will have something more. That comes out Thursday. I don't know when this video is coming out, so either it's soon, it is Thursday, or you're watching this way later and it already came out. I might make more videos on Prime, I have no idea. We'll see what happens, but yeah. Thanks for watching, bye!